Videos on our current tutorial. Thanks for watching our videos online. If you haven't subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button and the screen bell. That's our update on this YouTube channel. Thank you and God bless you. Amen. Today I'm going to considering what YGC 2022 alternative to biology practical, and this is one of the narrative class that will help you in preparing for biology alternative for practical. Now, and this is a question that has been given to us, and we have to what answer what the question based on the information given to us. And here we have diagram D, diagram E, and diagram F. And we are told to identify the diagram D, E, and F. When you look at this diagram D, E, and F very well, you can see that we have something like a net here, a container like here, and something like a net with a frame here as well. So these are methods of collecting organisms in biology. These are instruments we use in collecting what organisms in biology, and we are asked to identify each instrument D, F, and what and E. So we have to identify the instrument D, which is what, which is known as what, the sweep net. The sweep net is usually used for insects, to collect insect organisms. So we also define it as what? We also define it as insect net. So we can call it sweep net, insect net, or ant net. So also we have what? E. E is known as the what? The putter. The putter is used to collect what? Organisms that are called invertebrate, organisms without what? Backbones, such as we have what? We have the earthworm, the annelids. They are what? Invertebrate. We use what? We use the what? The putter to collect what? Tiny invertebrates. Tiny invertebrates. So those are the what? The organisms that we use E to collect. Now we have F, which is known as the quadrant. We use this one to collect small species of what? Organisms. Used to collect small species of organisms, such as what? Such as plant species, small plant species. So we call it quadrant. So E is called quadrant, F is called quadrant, E is called putter, and what? D is called sweep net. And now we are asked what? Name the part labeled Roman figure 1 to Roman figure 8. We have to name the part labeled Roman figure 1 to Roman figure what? 8. Now name the part labeled from Roman figure 1. This is Roman figure, to write it beside the what? The Roman figure number to save space for this place. So Roman figure I is what? Is the handle of the sweep net. So we call it handle. Is the handle of what? The sweep net, which is made up of steel. And we have what? The Roman figure 2, which is the net itself. Look at this Roman figure 2 is the net, it's what? Itself. So usually made of nylon. Now we have Roman figure 3 here, which is the what? The suction what? See, we have two tubes here, two extending what? Tube from this putter. We have the suction tube, which we place in our mouth. The suction what? The suction tube. This is the suction tube. The suction tube. Why this one is the collecting what? The collecting tube. The suction tube, the collecting tube. And this one is Roman figure 4, which is at the end, extreme end of the suction tube, is known as what we call what? The wire mesh. The wire mesh. We call it wire mesh. Let me write very well. Wire mesh, or sieve, or sometimes we call it what? Cutting. You can use cutting in the place. So we have wire mesh or sieve or cutting. Whichever the one you decide to use is very what? Very correct. So let me explain it like this. So these are inside brackets, so that you won't mix it up. So the wire mesh or sieve or cutting. Why the what? This one is called specimen tube or container. Specimen tube or container. So that is That is that about Roman figure 5. Please, Roman figure 1 is handle, Roman figure 2 is net, 3 is suction 2, 4 is what? Is the wire mesh or sieve or cutting, 5 is specimen tube or container, 6 is collecting what? 2. Then the 7 here is the frame of the quadrant. Frame of the quadrant. While this is wire or string of the quadrant. The wire or string of the quadrant, usually tiny as you can see. And that's that about the label part of I to Roman figure 8. And in Roman figure 3 here says that state the function of each of the part label I. Now when we look at this I here is the handle of the word sweetness. So we use it for holding the instrument in place for you. So in order to use the word instrument sweetness, we use the handle to hold it in place. So the function is for holding the instrument. It's for holding the instrument in place for what? For use. At least for holding the what? The instrument, which is the sweetness, in place. Then the Roman figure 2 here. We have to what? We have to find the function of what? Sorry. We have to write the function of Roman figure 3, not Roman figure 2. Roman figure 3, which is the suction tube. The suction tube here, we put the suction tube in the mouth when we are using the putter to apply suction pressure in order to draw in the insect. As you apply suction pressure on this aspect, you see the diagram on the screen. As you apply pressure on this, suction pressure on this, then the what? The insect is drawn from the collecting what? Collecting tube. So now the function of suction rod is to apply suction pressure. The suction pressure to draw in the insect. To draw the insect through the what? Collecting tube. As you apply the suction pressure here, the collecting tube collect the what? The insect from the what? From the leaf, crevice, or holes. So now it uses what? It collects what? The what? The suction pressure applied to the suction tube draw the insect from the leaves, from the crevice, or any point you wanted to collect the what? The insect. Now, so that's that. The function of Roman figure 4, according to this question now, is the function of Roman figure 4, which is the cutting. Look at it, the cutting here, the cutting or the wire mesh or the sieve prevents the insect from entering into the suction and thereby entering into the mouth. So what does this one do? To prevent the what? The insect or dirt from entering into the suction tube or mouth. You know, when you enter the suction tube, definitely to go to your mouth. So what does this one does is that it prevents the dirt or the insect from entering into the suction tube or the mouth. Then the Roman figure what? The Roman figure 5. The Roman figure 5, which is what? The Roman figure 5, which is the what? The container. We call it the specimen what? Container or what? Or tube. Yeah, the function of this one is that it's used for keeping the sucked insect temporarily. Sucked insect temporarily. So we use it to keep the what? The insect sucked temporarily. So that's that. That's that about that. And Roman figure 8 here. The Roman figure 8 here is the wire or the string. The Roman figure 8 here is the wire or the string. The wire or the string is just used to what? To demarcate the sampling area. To demarcate. It's used to demarcate the sampling what? The sample area And this is where you wanted to what? Where you wanted to investigate for the number of what? For the number of species or organisms present. So this one, when you throw the quadrant, it demarcates the sample area or area of what? Study. So that is that about the function of this. So the next question here under B is state one use each of the what? State one use of each of the what? Of the tools. Now what is the function of D? What is the function of D? D is used for collecting what? It's used for catching what? Flying insects. D is used for catching flying insects. They use what? When you swing it like this, it's used for catching what? Flying what? Flying insects. So when you see the what? The sweep net and they ask the function in the what? In the question, you know that it's used for what? For catching flying insects. Then E is the what? This diagram E is used. The diagram which is the putter is used. The putter is used for collecting what? For collecting tiny invertebrates. I told you the other time, invertebrates. It's used for collecting tiny invertebrates from leaves or crevices. From leaves or crevices. From its used for collecting what? Invertebrates from leaves or crevices. So please know that invertebrates. So it can be what? It can be insect as well. It can be insect as well. Because insect is also part of invertebrates. So F is a quadrant which is used for what? Which is used to what? This quadrant is used to know the number of what? Organisms. It's used for what? To know the number of what? For determining what? Number of small organisms or plant species in a restricted area or particular area. Restricted area means particular area, restricted area or particular area. So that is the function of the what? The D, F, and what? E. So now we are asked what? Describe briefly the use of each of the words of the tools labeled D, E, and F. We have to describe how we can use D, E, and F. Can we quickly describe that one now? How to use D, E, and F now? How to use D, E, and F? How to use D, E, and F. Now, as you see, how can we use description of how to use what? Descriptions of the use of number one is D. Diagram what? D. How do you use diagram D? Which is what? Which is the sweep what? Net. How do you use the sweep net? Number one is how do you use the sweep net? Number one is that you, whenever you see an organism and you wanted to use the sweep net to what? To carry out what? To carry out a sampling or to take the what? The organism, how do you, which is insect, how do you use it? Number one is to what? Is to swing the what? The handle. The handle of the what? Of the sweep net is swung. Is swung towards the what? Towards the organism or insect, towards the insect or organism. When what? Sighted. So the first thing is what? You swung it one side. When you swung what? Is the what? The angle of the sweep net. When you swung it like this with the handle, whenever you sight the what? Organism you wanted to take in particular. So that's the first thing. The handle of the sweep net is to be swung when you sight the organism that you wanted to take, or the flying organisms. So now the number 2 is after that you have swung the rod net and you have caught the organism. What do you do next? When the organisms are caught, now when the organisms are caught by this soup net, then the middle part, which is the net, the middle part of the net is held closed. You hold it from here. It's held closed. It's held closed to prevent the escape. Of the organism. So that's what next thing you do. You close the middle part like this. You hold this, it is net. You hold it like this, and then you tie it with something to prevent the escape of the organism. So that's how we use that one. What about the diagram E? The diagram E. How do we use that? Diagram E. The first thing you do when you are using the diagram E, which is the footer, is that you place the collecting dot. This collecting dot, this is what they are collect the organism from the leaf. So you place you place the collecting dots towards what? You place the collecting dots, the collecting tube rather, to the organism that you wanted to collect, the organism you wanted to collect to the organism. Then the next thing is to apply the suction pressure here. Also now, the suction tube then is placed in the mouth. And sucked. You sucked it to apply suction pressure. And after that, the insert is drawn. As you suck it, the insert is drawn into the specimen container. So that's how you use that one, as simple as that. So now the last one, which is diagram Diagram F. The diagram F, how do you use the diagram F? The diagram F, which is the quadrant. Diagram F, which is the quadrant. Now, the first thing you have to use this one is to throw the quadrant randomly on the sample area. Now, the quadrant is thrown randomly. The quadrant is thrown randomly. The quadrant is what? The quadrant is thrown randomly. Not the word randomly. So, it's thrown randomly. Now, number 2, after throwing it randomly, the next thing is to what? Wherever the thing lands, wherever the quadrant lands, what do you do? The number of what? The number of the selected what? Species in that area. Number of the selected species enclosed by the quadrant. Enclosed by the what? The quadrant. The number of species enclosed by the quadrant is counted. You count it. It's counted. So that next thing, wherever the quadrant lands, the number of the selected species is being what? Counted. Then it's not only counted alone, the number is also what? Number is also recorded. So that's the next thing. It's also recorded. Then figure 4, you can repeat. The procedure is repeated for several times. And the several times here, the minimum is what? 10, at least 10 times. Because you are carrying out the sampling of the organism, at least the 10 times, at least 10 times. Please note that, at least 10 times. Then after then, you can now calculate the average number average number of species, the average number of species per what? Per throw. The average number of species per throw. So that's how you use it. That's how you use the word yes. And lastly, you can also determine the percentage of the species covered. Determine the what? You can now determine the what? Determination of what can now be carried out after you have done that. Determine the percentage of the species or the area covered. So determine the species or the what? The percentage. Determine the percentage of the species covered. That's the last step in the description of the use of what? Of specimen what? Of specimen F. Please do that. So of specimen F. The first thing is to throw the quadrant randomly. You throw this quadrant randomly. The next thing is to what? You count the number of the selected species in that area. The next thing is also to repeat the procedure so as to get the accurate result. Repeat the procedure several times, at least for 10 times, and then you can now calculate the average number of species you obtain per throw. Meaning that what? Number of species you obtain per throw is, you are going to divide it by calculating what? Number of species in that area divided by the what? Number of throw. So, which is at least 10 throw. Now, and lastly is what? To determine the percentage covered by the what? Quadrant. So that's that about today's class. Please, if you have any question, please remember to drop your questions, and remember to drop your comment as well if this video has already helped you. Remember to subscribe and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching once again. Keep on watching our videos of academic tutorial. We love you. Bye bye and God bless you.